Hello, and thanks for clicking on my video. This is the Art Project. I usually do videos for art teachers for projects, but this time I am on Infinite Painter on Samsung Galaxy Tab FE. I'll figure it out in a minute. This is an app. It's sort of the equivalent of Procreate on an iPad, and I'm using it to draw a picture of a beholder. So I've been using it for a little while, but if you've been watching my channel for any length of time, you know I'm more of a traditional artist using traditional materials, paintbrush, pens, pencils, etc. Wanted to get a tablet and give it a try. I love seeing some of the things that other artists do on YouTube with Procreate and Infinite Painter, so I wanted to give it a try. And I've been working with it for a little while, and I decided to do this beholder monster from Dungeons and Dragons. This is one of my favorite monsters to draw, mostly because you don't have to know anything about figure drawing or anything like that to do it. It's just a great monster to draw. One of the things I love about Infinite Painter is it has a symmetrical or symmetry feature where you can activate it, and then whatever you draw on the right side appears on the left side, or whatever you draw on the left side also appears on the right side, whichever way you want to do it. And so I started out the entire drawing that way so that my beholder and his eyes would be symmetrical. But once I got everything kind of laid out the way I thought that I wanted it, I began to fill everything in with my other favorite feature, which is the fill pen. You can use different sort of fill tools, but I use just I think the basic fill pen to do most of this, and it helps to create sort of like a randomly weighted line. Maybe not randomly, but with a line that has interesting weights rather than just one single thickness to it. It helps to kind of give it some life, I think, and different weights to the lines themselves, which also helps take what is actually almost 100% symmetrical and make it not quite so symmetrical. And so that's what I was doing here, is going over all of my lines with the fill pen. Another thing that I like about Infinite Painter is it's a lot like Adobe Photoshop and Adobe programs where you can have different layers. And so once I had drawn the beholder out, I made a new layer and made the old layer a little bit more transparent and lighter. Then I came in and I filled in things like the eyes. I decided that there were a couple of gaps, and to fill those with more eye stalks and more eyes. And I just kind of kept going with it. Another great thing about digital work is that you can add another layer. You can erase what you need to erase. You can stretch and twist, and you can do all of this without having to like start over from scratch like you sometimes have to on a piece of regular paper or sketchbook or canvas. So another thing that I did as I was creating this particular beholder is I got to a point where I thought, okay, I'm done. Let's put a background in there. That was me trying out different backgrounds. But I kept pushing myself further and further. Like it looked too cartoony to me. And nothing wrong with cartoons, but it wasn't where I was really trying to go. In the end, I think it still looks a little cartoonish, but I'm pretty proud of how deep I went with it, creating things like eye features and shadows and so on throughout it. So watch out for some of that. The textures that I'm going to add and so on. The highlight on the side. I thought about doing horns, but decided not to. I changed up my highlights quite a bit. And then my favorite part, I think, is this texture that I'm about to add to it. I didn't want just a smooth skinned, almost elephant skin looking beholder. I wanted some real textures in here. And by the way, right now I'm filling in the little eyes. If you weren't paying attention, it looked like nothing was going on, but if you look at the eyes real close, and then I gave it some texture. It took me a few minutes to figure out how to make the texture work for me, but again, in the end, I think I like it a lot. So that, my friends, is Infinite Painter for a beholder, and I like the way he turned out. Hope you do too. It's your turn. Go make some art.